Well, hello, lovers. I'm here with some sensational news, and you can probably hear it. I don't need to tell you, I've got my sexy microphone back. I'm so excited. It works. New laptop. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that my MacBook Pro that was 10 years old would just slowly start dying in all aspects? So if your microphone is not working, it could be because your computer is a dinosaur. Now, for those people that are very loyal followers of the Business Fondle podcast, you may be aware that there has been a tiny little break. I feel like I've broken a rule here of podcasting, and I know that I tell my clients this all the time in email land, where it's like, if you don't email, you don't admit to it. You don't talk about the elephant in the room of the fact that you haven't sent an email in ages. You just get back on the horse. But it has been mayhem here. We are heading towards end of financial year, and I have just lots of events and stuff that are happening at the moment. Really new for me in my business. You know, I am so used to running online events, but in-person events just feels like a completely different thing. And I have 3 coming up. I had an online event this week, and that has been where most of my time has gone. I also had one of my really sexy friends come and stay with me. We filmed some content, and we just had such a good weekend. He's gorgeous and he's incredible. And I was meant to do work that weekend and nothing happened. So I apologize, but know that I was not creating content for you, but I was having a very, very good time. So what I actually wanted to talk about today is a very condensed version of a masterclass that I ran this week. If you have the email marketing starter pack, you will have access to this. And the masterclass is the ultimate email relationship. Now, this podcast episode is going to talk about something I feel so passionate about. But as you're listening to this, if you are like, oh my gosh, yes, I want to bite into this. If you are not ready to chew into GGE, get the starter pack, watch this masterclass, and I guarantee you that you will feel so excited to show up and really take email seriously. Now, what we're going to talk about today is essentially how to date and get into a long-term relationship with our audience through email. This whole thing was really inspired by, 2 things that I'm seeing, one in my personal life and one in business. Now, in my personal life, dating is fucked. You just need to open TikTok or Reels and you'll see people talk about how Australian dating is terrible and how dating in Melbourne is terrible and how everyone's getting off the apps and how people have almost forgot how to date and men have forgot how to court and be like a normal, decent human being. So that influenced this masterclass, but there was another thing as well. I have been noticing that people have really been going down that ManyChat route, where it's that automation where someone will put a post up on Instagram and, they'll be like, comment a word. And when they comment a word, it will trigger this sequence in that person's messages where they're sent a link and, it will prompt them to buy something. And I've done a couple of these now, and it's been really interesting that every time I've done one, none of these people have asked for my email address, which is so wild to me because I'm like, if you have gone to the hard part of getting in front of these eyeballs, not everyone is going to convert, but you are going to have more luck at getting someone on your email list than getting them to buy then and there. And, think about right now, if you have never bought from me, if you've never bought Give Good Email, but you are a loyal podcast listener, think about how many touch points we have had, right? And you still haven't purchased. Now, that's not me calling you out, but it's me identifying that you're going to have multiple different touch points with a particular person before they buy, and how that is a really dicey game if we are doing it on a platform that we don't own, where we are then governed by an algorithm. We're not really sure what could happen. And when we look at the average engagement rate on Instagram is about 2%. Do you want to sell to 2% of your audience, or do you want to sell to 100% of your audience? So that really influenced this masterclass and how, I think that email is really like a relationship that we have with our subscribers. People say, oh, but social media is a relationship. It is, but email just feels that little bit next level intimate because they have essentially said, I'm keen on you. Here is my email address, and I'm willing to risk this with you. We've all been turkey slapped by bad email. Your subscribers have, everyone has, but they see what you do. They love how you do it, and they are happy to risk it. Now, one of the themes that I mentioned in the masterclass is how your social media and your website and everything that you are putting out there is your dating profile. So you need to get that right. A lot of people have amazing profiles, but it's the after part, it's the matching and it's the talking where they fuck up. That is what I help you get better at. However, if your dating profile is fucked, it does not matter how good you are at email because you just won't have the people. So this is where both of these are going to have to really work hand in hand. You're going to have a sexy online presence where people just want to print you out and sit on you. They want to rub their bits all over your face. You have to have that working for you. And then when you have that working for you, this is where we can get email to work for you. Now, this is not me saying that I expect everyone to have a viral, for everything to go viral and then to have a huge audience. However, you need to have people paying attention, which if you are listening to this podcast, if you are a clued on hottie, which you are, you definitely will. So what I want you to think about now is if you are dating, this is going to be really easy. If you've been coupled up for a while, firstly, fuck you. No, I'm joking. Kind of. But I want you to think about the time that you met someone and everything felt really easy, they made it so easy for you. They organized the dates, they kept in touch, you just felt at ease. And I'm not saying that you had to be head over heels for this person, but just how incredible it was when you knew that someone liked you and they were actively pursuing you. Now I want you to think about the time where you met someone and they didn't keep their word and how that made you feel. And when you were meant to have a date and then they ghosted you. Or you had a date and it was terrible and then they didn't speak to you for 2 weeks. What would make you feel safe to date? Who would make you feel safe to date long term, right? If you had to pick one of those people to couple up with, if you had to talk about, who was better at dating, if your friend was to date one of them, who would you say? You're not going to say the person that ghosted you or breadcrumbed you. You are going to say the person that was consistent and kept their word. And this is where email is incredible because it gives us a chance to just come in and beautifully date the people that we want to work with and give them an experience that is so wonderful that they then can't help but work with us and then continue to work with us, right? So what we're going to do here is we are going to look at 2 things in our business with email that we can get set up. Now, if you want help with this, fucking pay me. I'm not even joking. But this episode is going to get you so fired up. It's going to get you looking at things really differently. But if you are wanting the tangible strategy, this is where, babe, invest. What are you waiting for? Now, when I created this, I was really thinking about Jet and Pookie. I'm chronically on TikTok. It's probably my biggest red flag, but I love Jet and I love Pookie. And I love how he speaks about her, how you can tell he is just so obsessed with her, and how I see in the comments all the time, people like, I want a jet, I want a jet, I want a jet. You can think about how in online business, it is like the wild, wild west. There are fuckboys, there are cowboys, there are people that are just terrible at what they do. And this is where you get to sweep in, you get to be the ultimate partner where people just can't help but date you and they want to keep dating you. So why should we care? You might be like, oh, this feels like another thing, right? Now, one thing about email marketing is that I feel having the word marketing attached to email really does a disservice to it, because what then people think is, oh, well, it's in the marketing category and I'm already marketing, and then they want to forget about it. I want you to see email as the hire in your business that always shows up and never needs sleep, and it's a duplicate of you. So if you feel like that you never have enough time, if you feel like that you wish you could clone yourself, if this is like a little fantasy of yours, this is where email can come in and help. it can sell, it can onboard, it can be a little concierge for your business. It can do absolutely everything. So if you're like, oh, I feel like we're already marketing, I want you to remove that from your category and put it in like the business category. So remove it from marketing, put it into business. Now, there is a really fun stat from Harvard Business Review, and this came from them, where they said acquiring a new customer is anywhere from 5 to 25 times more expensive than retaining an existing one. So what this means is it's going to be cheaper for you to keep customers than continually being on the lead generation train. Depending on your business and how things are set up, you may be doing paid marketing to get in front of people. So you would be paying for leads. Now, I'm going to say for the bulk of people listening to this podcast, you are probably going to be doing organic marketing, which means you may have the belief, well, I don't understand how it's going to be more expensive when it's just my time. And that is the worst trap to fall into. Because at the end of the day, we aren't in business to look at our whole week and be like, I have all this time available to work on my business. That sounds fucked. What we want to do is build a business that works for us, that will continually run. And if we can work less but earn double, why wouldn't we do that? You're a smart person. You know that you would want to do that. So here's the thing. We can't delete the apps when we want to date. But what we can do is we can limit small talk and we can limit swiping, which means we can really maximize the people that we have available to us right now. Get out of the permanent talking stage. This is where we want to connect with people. We want to work out, are we a good fit? Do we want the same things? Are our values in line? If not, that's fine. They can fuck off. They can date someone else, aka they can unsubscribe. But we want to get to that point really fast. We don't want tire kickers on our list that are there for 2 years. We want to define the relationship and get into bed with them as soon as possible. I want you to think right now of how much your business would change if every time you had someone hop onto your mailing list that you knew that there was a hot chance that they were going to buy from you in the next 30 days. Imagine if there was a 1 in 3 chance. You would look so differently about promoting your email list and getting your newsletter out there, knowing that you had the best hit rate. You would see this as the most valuable real estate in your business. And that is so possible, okay? This is just not something that I'm throwing around. This is something that is so possible. So the first thing that I want you to think about is I want you to maximize the people that you have. I want you to get into the habit of when someone follows you, if you are doing continual traffic stuff, how can we get them onto our list ASAP? So that is the first thing. Now, the second thing is, did you know that increasing customer retention by 5% increases profits by 25 to 95%? Isn't that wild? So I want you to think about what 25% more profit would mean to you, right? Think about it right now. What would 25% more profit mean to you and mean to your business? Would you be able to work less? Would you be able to buy the thing that you want? What would you do? Okay. So if you are someone that wants more money in your business, this is where email can come in and help, because this is where we can make it really easy to keep our customers and keep them paying us. One of the smartest things that you can do in business is have an ecosystem of offers that work for you, so that when someone comes in, they're not just buying one thing. There is always something for them to buy, and there is always a way for them to work with you. And if you have a business set up like that, incredible. But we want to make sure that we're not a one-hit wonder and that people come and they buy one thing and then they fuck off. If we are doing hard work online to get in front of people, this is where we want to keep those people and we want to keep selling to them, especially if they're a really sexy, beautiful, fun customer. To be incredible at dating, like so good that people never want to leave us, we have to do 2 things, okay? We have to be incredible at dating, and we need to love them so hard they never want to leave us, that they have such a good experience that they can't think about going anywhere else. And this looks like doing 2 things. We need a welcome sequence and we need an incredible customer onboarding sequence. Alternatively, if you are in e-commerce, a post-purchase flow. Klaviyo came out and they released something that I feel that I have been saying for such a long time, to a point where I'm like, hey babe, are you hiding in the bushes just listening to what I'm saying? They're like, flows are the secret weapon of a conversion-driven marketer, which means if you want to make money, if you want to convert people so they buy, you need to have flows. You need to have automations. This is a bedrock part of Give Good Email, where it is about email marketing and automation. And there is a reason I say automations, because this is where you are going to get the money. Now, in this report that Klaviyo released, they talked about how, flows will have revenue. There are averages and there are, the top 10%. I'm going to read the averages out to you. You're going to make money, okay? So this is in US dollars and this is revenue per recipient. So your abandoned cart flow, $3.65 per recipient. Welcome flow, so that's when someone joins your newsletter, $2.65 per recipient. Abandoned browsing flow, $1.07. And then this one, which made me weep, post-purchase flow, 41 fucking cents. That's pathetic. Okay, so the reason that that's pathetic is if someone has given you money and they've had a really good experience and you're a sexy brand, why shouldn't that be higher? Okay, we want them to keep paying us. If they've had a fucking shit hot experience, they should want to keep working with us. Like, imagine if you've had an amazing first date with someone, why would there not be a second date? That post-purchase flow is the second date. So we have a lot of people out here that you can see with the welcome flow, $2.65, they're great at dating, but they're not getting a lot of second dates. So this is the flow that will get you second dates, third dates, gets you into a long-term relationship with people. So how do we date? How do we go steady? Well, we need to have our wonderful welcome flow. As I said earlier, your brand and your content is your dating profile. Your welcome series are the first few dates. This is what sets the tone for the relationship. This is what works out if they're down to fuck, down to date, down to go steady, okay? This is where we want to bring out crazy. And I have some do's and don'ts for you. If you have a sequence, if you need to create one or amend it, here is what you should do. I want you to bring the crazy, okay? I want you to be your authentic self. You don't want to be someone that is holding yourself back. You don't want to be palatable. You don't want to be beige. Fuck that. I want you to be the most you that you can be. Imagine that you are in a room with your best friends where, your guard is down. You can do whatever you want, okay? How are you showing up? What are you saying? What opinions do you have? How are you talking about things? That should be in your welcome sequence. One of the ways I do this with clients is we look for content that they've already put out there that's a bit spicy. So this is where you can look for emails you've sent where you're like, oh, that's a bit controversial. Fucking loved that. Or hot takes that you've put out on Instagram, stories, wherever. Where are you your unfiltered self? You have content there. Turn that into emails for your welcome flow. Now, we want to date to marry. This means that we have a very clear outcome in mind. So we're not going into a welcome sequence, giving people 15 different things to do. We can talk about our different offers, but we really have an end result in mind. Now, we know that it's a numbers game. This means that more people in, we've got more chances to convert. So don't put too much pressure on, getting 10 people in here or 100 people and expecting results immediately. I want you to just keep putting people in this sequence. The next thing is we need to keep our pace because people and inboxes love consistency. Now, I could go so deep on this because there is like a deliverability aspect to this, but Gmail released when they had the changes happening, when was it, February 1, one of the things of the requirements is they said, maintain consistent pace with email sending. This means you don't want to email people like 5 times and then nothing for a year. That's not great. And then the next thing is know what gets people off. So this means that you need to know about your audience. You need to know about your subscriber, the person that is on your email list. The easiest way to do this is to segment from the start. And this just means that we are getting enough information from them. So how I've done this, if you go to professionalbabe.com, on the banner up the top, you can do your How Hot Is Your Business quiz. When you click that, you'll notice that I ask you questions in a little drop-down menu. So things like, what is most important to you right now? Is it status? Is it money? Like, what are you after? I need to know what gets people off because I can market to them better. There is no point me thinking that everyone is money driven when I find that everyone that comes onto my list just wants ease. Now, here is what we shouldn't do. We shouldn't ghost because we're not Chads. We shouldn't be all over the place, and this just means selling too many offers. Now, we don't want to flop it out, no fucking hard sells. You can sell, you 100% can sell, but I don't want that first email to read like a copy and paste of your sales page. I don't want every email to be a hard sell. Now, I know for some people that this would absolutely work for them and their business. However, I am all for reputation building and in the process of that, relationship building. I am all for you getting paid, but I want your people to have a strong emotional connection and understand why they're buying so they continue to buy. Now, the next thing we don't want to do is we don't want to have one move. What I mean by this is if I open all of your emails in your welcome sequence, they should look different. They should look different if they're e-com, or they should sound different. It shouldn't be almost like a carbon copy and paste where you're talking about the same thing and that you can just literally copy and paste paragraphs. Gross, don't do that. And then we don't want to try moves that worked for our ex. Different strokes for different folks. So this goes back to the last point in what we should do is we need to know what gets people off. We should be segmenting from the start. So this is where we want to think about how, we need to market to people in different ways because people want different things. So we don't want to get in the habit of, well, this is how I like to be marketed to because that's fucked, because we're not our customer. So I gave a little challenge here off the back of this for this welcome sequence flow. And I really encourage people to get this done by the end of the week. So if you haven't done yours yet, get it done by the end of the week. If you want help, you've got two choices: entry level, get the starter pack, alternatively get GGE. What I want you to do as well is to work out how much that you desire to make from this. I gave people a goal to convert 10% of their audience, which is high. I was like, what would it look like for you to convert 10% of your welcome people into a paid offer? Now, what I said to them is don't feel that email has to do everything. Email can do a lot of the heavy lifting, and this is where we get to come in and have a conversation and get that sale, okay? So what this looks like is we always want to give people something to click. There's one thing that you take from this: make sure that you're not leaving everything in the email, that we take some stuff out and that we get people to click to that next step for more information. The most simple way to do this is to not put a price in an email and to leave key parts out. So if someone reads about an offer, they want more information, they can click through, they can read it, and then we then have that click that has been logged so we can go back, we can contact that person, and we can either book a call or we could send them a coupon code or just say, hey bitch, buy my shit, okay? So that is where, if we have that 10% that we're aiming for, maybe we're hitting 4%, and this is where we're like, great, at the end of every month, I'm gonna be a proactive bitch and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna get that 6%. It gives you something to aim for, and I really, really, really encourage you to just have a go of this. You've aced that, you know how to date. What happens then when we've got this customer and we've had a great first date? This is where we want to move past the 1 month max stage, okay? There is nothing worse if you feel like that you are having great first dates, great second dates, but it's not really leading to anything else. If we have a good time with someone, we want to keep that person. So we want to love them so hard that they don't leave. And this is where having an onboarding automation or a post-purchase flow is incredible. Now, one thing I will say, don't put pressure on yourself to get this all done ASAP. What I mean by this is, when you purchase the starter pack, there's one email in that post-purchase flow. That's it. It's a fairly new offer for me. I was trialing something, and now that I've got data, I can go and I can create this really beautiful sequence. How awesome is that? Now, part of that and what I'm going to do, just to give you a little bit of an insight into my strategy, is the starter pack gives people a really good idea of what GGE is, but there's a core element missing, and that core element is me. So these slides that I'm really reading through right now actually was a masterclass again that I ran last week. And it's something that I'm thinking about doing where, if people get the starter pack, maybe I'm going to give them like a nice little 4 to 6 sexy email onboarding sequence. And then maybe every second month we can have like a little workshop on something where they get to come along, because I do really well at converting in events. Emails do the heavy lifting. I then get to sweep in with the sale. So this can look really different for you. Don't feel that you need to do what I'm doing, and don't Don't try to emulate what someone else is doing. And I only say this because I know people that will regularly purchase something to see what someone else is doing. Fuck that person because you don't know how it's converting. I want you to think about what is an amazing way to date people. If you have a good customer, what are they going to need to work with you long term? Who are they? Who is your customer? How do you love them? And then how do they like to be loved? Something really good to keep in mind. So what we should do with this wonderful onboarding or post-purchase sequence is a couple things. If you're e-commerce, use dynamic content, use your conditional splits. You can really vary this depending on what people have ordered, where they live. You can make that really fun and really sexy. The next thing is talk them through it. Oh my God, it's so hot. Have you ever had someone that just talks you through everything and they're like, put this here, do this, good girl. Oh, that, right? Talk them through it. And we want to onboard them so good that they could talk someone through it. So this is a really big thing for course providers and people that sell courses. We don't want someone to go into a course and then be really overwhelmed and they don't know what to do with it. We want them to be so proficient and they can understand this that just say you disappeared for a second and someone else came into it and then they had to be explained that they could go and onboard that person. And we don't want to be afraid to say, I love you / propose. What this means is don't be afraid to sell that next product. A lot of the time people are like, well, they've just invested $1,000, so I'm going to wait. Wait for what? If your offers and your products are so transformational, why do you want them to wait, right? Give Good Email is $2,500. It is going up in price. I have no worries about selling them something else because I'm like, well, get into Give Good Email. There's no reason you can't make that back in a week. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, I'm not selling them a fucking rock. I'm selling them a transformational product and program. And if you feel as though you can't sell your products and you need to wait, I don't think that this is an email thing. I think this is a you and your self-worth and how you feel about your shit thing, okay? Because if your stuff was so good and you realized how good it was, you would happily sell people everything that you have and you wouldn't fucking wait. So maybe that's what you have to work on. So what shouldn't we do? We shouldn't ghost. Worst thing, we never want people to purchase something and then we never speak to them again. We also don't want to assume that they'll define the relationship. And what that means is that they'll come knocking on our door saying, oh my God, this was so good. What can I do now? We want to present what that looks like. And we also don't want to leave it too long between encounters. So don't think that you need to wait 3 months, 6 months, 12 months to sell that next thing. Absolutely not. Because you have no idea how fast your customer is prepared to move. If you're e-com, they could be thinking, I love this so much, I want to get my sister one. They could be thinking, this is so incredible, I want to purchase this, what else in the range is there? If you are a service provider, they could be thinking, this is so transformational, I have this other problem. You have no idea what is happening for your customers. And a lot of the time, especially when things are quiet for us, we assume it's quiet for everyone. That if no one is paying us, then no one has money. Worst thing that you can do. If you want to train your brain into seeing that people have money, go and buy a coffee and sit in a coffee shop and look at the people that come in and they spend money on a fucking cup of coffee and all the other shit. Best thing that you will do to show yourself that people are continually spending. So hearing this and hearing these two about our welcome sequence and our onboarding flow, there is going to be something that is probably standing out for you right now to focus on. And it's either going to be that you have a lot of people on your social following and you feel like they stay there and you feel like it's hard to sell. That's your welcome flow. Alternatively, you sell consistently, but you feel like that you're really, really working to get that next sale and that it doesn't matter, you continually having to work hard. That is going to be your onboarding automation. So what do we do from here? When we've got this, what do we do? So this is where I don't want you to be afraid to reach out to people. One of the best things with email marketing is that we have basically a report with every subscriber. We can go and we can contact the clickers. We can do anything that we want. So don't be afraid to do reach outs and to have these personalized reach outs. You also can create segments. So those little groups of subscribers from people that click, you can utilize small segments of engaged subscribers and send additional campaigns. So how fun would it be if you have your wonderful welcome flow, you then create something where you create a little segment of people that click in that. And then you say, hey, hottie, you are my most engaged subscriber. How does that feel? I've got a little freebie for you. I've got this for you. Or I have a different story that I've never covered anywhere. That person is going to feel so loved up, okay? We want to reward the people that are hot for you, and we also want to let them know. So what I also said in the workshop is it would be really good if you could focus on selling to 5 to 10% of your audience in that onboarding flow in the next 30 to 90 days. What I mean by this is, let's pretend that you have 100 people go through. Of those 100 people, what would it look like to have 5 to 10 people purchase? We can do the same as we've done in that welcome series, where at the end of the month, we're like, how many sales have we gotten? And then you can be proactive and you can contact people saying, hey, I just want to check in. How are you finding this product? You can be a little bit more salesy, where you're like, hey, I hope you're loving this product. I've noticed you've clicked in an email. Is this something that you're considering? You could then offer them a sales call. You could offer them a discount, or you could just say, hey, bitch, buy my goods. If you love this, you are going to fucking froth at the mouth at this. Okay. So you really have full range of what you want to do here. But if you have these two things in your business working for you, right? Working for you consistently around the clock, how much more spacious is your life and your business going to feel knowing that you have a sales team and a customer support team that is trained in selling because they're essentially you? This is where you can really schedule all of your content. You can put it online and know that when someone buys something, guess what? They are going to then be sold the next thing. This is what we should be aiming for. This is the goal in business. This is something I am so passionate about, because this is important, okay? This is what we want. We don't want to be working around the clock. We don't want to be spending all our time doing shit that doesn't pay off. We want to be doing stuff that is going to move the needle and result in cash in the fucking bank, because how fun is money? So I've given you a couple of little gems here for you to chew on. But as I said, if you want to go steady with me, you've got a couple options. Email marketing starter pack, give good email, get one of them at least. If you're like, no, I just want to go balls deep, get into GGE. We do have a sale that is expiring end of financial year, and the program is going up in price. Even after the sale, it's going up to $3,300. So you can pay $2,000, pay in full, or you can pay $3,300. Whatever you want to do is up to you. So I've loved this. I love this so much. I love you more than my new microphone. Actually, not my new microphone, my new laptop, and my microphone works now. I love you more than that. It's just so easy. I love you more than how beautiful and sunny it is outside. I feel like I'm a lizard and I just need that vitamin D to make me feel so good. I love you more than the sex that I had on the weekend. It was incredible. Go make money. Maybe go get shagged. Do both. Oh my God, go get shagged, set your flows up, and then make money while you're getting shagged. That's the fucking dream, babe. Go actualize it. Mwah.